Everybody, Aether Solora here. There we go. We had some technical difficulties where it went poo-poo. Let's put it that way. It went caca. So, here today, I bring to you in the Cosplayer interview, this is a little bit different, but
Sparrow from Sparrow Style.
There we go. And hopefully nothing else happens. Like, oh my god. Like, we're trying. Oh my lord. So, as to right now, I'm making sure to keep an eye on the chat right now for people to actually interact with the interview if they wish. We'll make little segments here and there. But this isn't about me. Besides the internet. Sparrow, what got you into cosplay? And as you knew, when it was cosplay.
Okay. So my answer to this is going to be something that's very, very common. I'm sure a lot of you, and like you personally probably heard this from many cosplayers. I got into it basically since I just loved to dress up for Halloween. Like, I was always big into Halloween. I love being in costume. Even since I was a kid, I was very picky with my costumes. So, like, you know how kids have those Disney princess costumes that you get? Yep. Yeah. And they always have, like, the logo or, like, a picture of the princess on it. Like, and you can't really remove it. When I was a kid, I was always like, why does it have the logo on it? Because the costume itself in the show does not. And I could also tell the difference between, like, my princess costume and then, like, when I went to the Disney parks and, like, you know, Disney parks costumes are more legitimate on the face characters. Yeah. Like, I was always picky about that stuff from the start. So, around middle school, when I was, like, browsing the internet for, like, pictures from Sweeney Todd, because that was, like, the first movie that I really, really into. Yeah. I came across posts that said, like, Sweeney Todd costume, but then also Sweeney Todd cosplay. Ooh. And so it was in middle school, kind of, when I actually figured out what cosplay was. Yeah. And I figured, like, you know, cosplay costume was kind of interchangeable. Yeah. So definitely, like, middle school, searching the internet, came across cosplay. But I started going to conventions with my friends around that time, too, because they were interested in going to the anime cons and stuff. And I was like, oh, I know about that. Like, I've seen posts about that on the internet, like, back when DeviantArt, you know, everyone was more active on DeviantArt. Right.
It was a thing.
So I started cosplay, like, in that era, like, around 2008. So I have been cosplaying for
a long
14
time.
years.
A long. I think we all have at this point.
I was talking to a friend about this, like, at Anime Milwaukee, because I went to Anime Milwaukee, I think now it was, like, a week ago. Yeah. Literally having, like, a quarter-life crisis. Because I was like, yeah, you know, like, back, we were talking about, like, age and stuff, and I was like, I feel like an old cosplayer, and I was, like, thinking about how long I've been cosplaying, and I was like, holy crap, like, it's been 14 years. Yeah. And it, like, I don't feel like I've been cosplaying for that long. Like, I've been cosplaying for longer than some of these new cosplayers who are going to conventions now have been alive.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, that's where I feel you on that one. It's where being 30 as well, not 32, sorry, 30, it is one of those type of things where I'm like, oh god, I'm starting to feel, like, even 5 years ago, it still felt like, okay, I'm starting to feel a little old, now I'm 30, it's like, I'll be volunteering or helping out things a lot more at the conventions, or I just go and chill with, you know, my actual friends, or the ones that I don't really get to see because, there's some distance. Let's put it that way.
Right. Or, like, yeah, if you're volunteering at a con and you have, like, shifts and stuff, you're working. So, like, if your friends are going out and doing stuff, then it's like, oh, well, I can't, like, I'm working this area of the con right now.
Right. It isn't like,
and I feel like also, anywhere. Like, the older that you get in the con world, like, you play a different role, like, in the convention and cosplay community, right? Yeah. Like, so when you're first starting out, like, you're always on the floor, of the con floor, like, wandering dealers hall, like, you're there just to do the cosplay and stuff. But, like, as you get more experienced, you know, like, some cosplayers go into, like, the competition field. So, like, I like to compete. I've judged a couple of cons. Like, that's kind of, like, the path
Yeah.
But you kind of, like, as you become more experienced, you either become, like, a staff member of the con, or you become, like, a cosplay guest.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how you know, like, okay, you're established.
It's kind of like in the middle ground right now as well for me, but I like to make sure things are more under control. I know what's actually going on to actually help out as much as I can, but still be able to do my own thing, such as even if it came down to cosplay contests, I would help people in the back with other, staff members or volunteers, and we're like, just breathe, sweetie, or breathe, honey, it's okay, don't worry, it's not the end of the world, just go out there, have fun with it. It's been there, done it, I know how it is. This is first time for all of you. Okay, so first things first, breathe. In and out. We're gonna do some exercises. Let's go. Now don't jump. No, don't. No. I didn't say Simon Says jump.
Right.
Also, we've got a guest on here, Asgar, saying, out on my night walk, so listening but can't see, and now they're saying, ready to watch. I'm like, okay, sweet. Awesome,
nice.
Thank you.
Well, welcome to the chat.
So, we always welcome people on the chat, interact, talk with the audience, talk with the people on the actual live stream.
I love the, back and forth, because I do TikTok lives a lot, too. So, I'm used to seeing, the chat on my side and being able to respond, right away.
Right.
So.
That's why normally not... Well, I had it set up where I should have been able to see it on the stream going, right? But it's not working for some odd reason. Though
I'm going to just trust in you to read out any call-outs that are in the chat. So.
Right there! There's a call-out right there! But at the same time, too, as your experiences in the cosplay conventions, as to some of your best and worst moments, could you recall any that, that you're willing to talk about?
Yeah.
Nothing too graphic if you have any of that.
Because that's something that I actually like to talk about a lot, being someone who is non-white. I am a POC cosplayer, and I tend to cosplay from live action media.
Yes,
so movies and musicals is pretty much all I cosplay from. Being that as it is, when you cosplay from live action media, you're kind of expected to look like the character more strictly than if you're cosplaying from an animated series. I feel because you have the real life actor to compare to.
Right. And
so early on in my cosplay career, I used to post some stuff on YouTube. I dressed as Sweeney Todd and did Sweeney Todd remakes. I would always get comments about Asian Sweeney Todd, or why is he Asian? Or when I'm out as Jack Sparrow, sometimes people will be like, oh, look, it's Jackie Chan's Sparrow. And they'll make comments that are just
not cool.
Inappropriate.
That is not cool. People out there watching this or future watching this on YouTube, you still have to get consent first off if that's your friend as an inside joke. But remotely, don't ever say that kind of stuff.
Right.
That is completely straight up racist.
Yeah. Yep.
That I will call that one out. That's completely racist. Yeah.
Yep. That's something that I always like to talk about. Early on in my cosplay career, that happened to me because it's something that people probably need to be more aware of. And people are saying these comments in passing. I'm sure they're not meaning to be racist, but especially nowadays, you can't be going around saying stuff like that because it's rude.
Right.
If the person did not make it a point, if I did decide to, design an Asian inspired kind of Jack Sparrow where he's, wearing some sort of traditional Asian clothing or something, that would make sense. But if I'm literally just cosplaying the character as he appears in the movie, there's no reason to call attention to my race. I'm not Asian Jack Sparrow. I'm just Jack Sparrow.
Right. And at the same time, when I try to refer you to people, I'm like, okay, this person's name is Emma. Or as you don't like being called, out of respect, because that's how people will find you on Facebook. I'm like, well, do you know this person that goes by this on Facebook?
Right.
Then it'll get to the point where nobody knows until I say, unfortunately,
Yeah.
The female Asian-looking Jack Sparrow cosplayer that does also historical cosplays and is currently doing a Malfoy's father figure cosplay as to leading it up because they may not know of those previous cosplays. But then they're like, oh, yes, I know. And I'm like, Why is it always got to be
I
that?
And I know some people would say, like, oh, you should use it to your advantage. Like, hey, hey, I'm the Asian Jack Sparrow. Like, and I do sometimes refer to myself as that so people, like, kind of know who I am.
Right.
But, like, it's hard because I don't want to continue to just be dependent on, like, hey, I'm the Asian Jack Sparrow. Because then that's just encouraging.
Or I'll just say, it's, the Sparrow cosplayer, the more female one, or, I try to leave titles completely out of most describing.
Or you could just, like, hey, it's the Jack Sparrow that always used to show up at cons. Like, she was always in, like, Anime Central, like, she's in Chicago area. Like, you've probably seen her before.
More Hamilton live-action cosplays now, and currently as Harry Potter cosplay.
Right.
Is this character. You'll see it on that individual's Facebook page if you try to look them up, if you need the actual name. Here's the actual link instead at that point. But on top of everything, I feel like I'm stuttering here, left and right. Like, blah, 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 blah. It really comes down to seeing what were some more of the fantastic moments of your convention life besides, that part.
Right. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of awesome moments. I think because I used to cosplay as Jack Sparrow so often, I actually started to become known for that cosplay.
Yeah.
So, like, it was always cool when people would recognize me from, like, other cons. Hey, you're that Jack Sparrow. Like, I see you every year. I love seeing your cosplay. Or even, like, this past Anime Milwaukee, someone saw me, and they're like, are you the person who used to do, like, Jack Sparrow all the time? Like, because I was talking to my friend about you, and, like, we were talking about how we never see Jack Sparrow at the cons anymore, but, like, we remember seeing your Jack Sparrow, and, like, are you bringing it back, like, kind of conversation. So I love, like, it's so much fun when people, like, can recognize, I guess, the characters that you've done.
Right.
And they're excited to see it. Like, I just think that's really fun. But then also, cool. Like, when I was cosplaying from Hamilton, like, if I encountered other Hamilton cosplayers,
immediately,
it was really cool, like, go up to them and talk to them, be like, hey, like, this is so cool, like, you're cosplaying from this too, because I tend to cosplay from things that are not as popularly cosplayed.
You don't see it. You don't see it.
Like, they're popular shows, and they're popular sources, and everyone knows them. Like, they're very generic. Everyone knows Hamilton. Everyone knows Harry Potter. But, like, not a lot of people cosplay from those fandoms anymore because they're, like, older fandoms.
Right.
So, like, when I see someone else who's also cosplaying from it, it's, like, it's super exciting because it's like, oh, my God, people still cosplay from this. I'm not alone.
Yo, last time we ever saw a Homestuck cosplayer, when was that?
I actually saw one at Anime Milwaukee.
What? Okay. Yeah. Well, it did kind of continue. They were doing the God tier
versions of them, so they were actually, like, it was incredibly detailed. Like, I loved it. It was so cool.
When you go fully in all details of your cosplays to the actual character, like, go beyond and more. Not plus ultra jokes. No. You just go beyond what's expected, essentially, for that cosplay. It's more like, oh my gosh.
Right.
Like, I'm looking at the actual character, and if you're acting the character too, then just being a display porcelain doll looking thing, it's even better.
I was able to do that for Jack because he has a very distinct voice. He has a very distinct way of carrying himself.
Hello.
I don't really try to do that for any of the other characters that I do because, like, I guess for some reason for Jack Sparrow, when you are dressed as Jack,
you're
expected to be in character. And if you're not, it's, like, kind of disappointing for the people who are, like, interacting with you.
It is.
Now, thankfully, and I feel like the Harry Potter fandom a little bit, sometimes they go into, like, a role-play thing, so, like, I'll figure that out when I go to a bigger con as Lucius. I don't know how to say his name. But when
Malfoy
like,
Daddy.
More...
well, Daddy more, like, Malfoy, there we go.
Kind of But yeah, Jack Sparrow is really the only character that I actually tried doing, like, the voice and, like, the mannerisms and all that stuff and staying in character in cosplay. Otherwise, I'm pretty much just there, like, dressed as the character, and I'll, like, get into character for photos and stuff, but, like,
knowing how I can recognize you, just your face alone is very recognizable, but it's still very distinctful on every single cosplay you do, that it separates it. It isn't just, hey, here's my face. Here's
Right.
a different outfit. No, at that point, it's
makeup and camera angles and filters help.
It does. It does. I try to keep it all natural. I'm sorry. But no, in all honesty, when it comes down to professional photography, too, if we want to get into talking about that, makes a huge difference.
100%.
And
100%.
You know, every photographer is going to have different skills, equipment, everything. They're still improving until the day they die. Like any cosplayer, improving until the day they die.
Yep.
It's overall big picture.
Yep.
I ain't getting any younger. Straight up. And then on top of that, as to things you've participated in at conventions and or outside of conventions related to your cosplay, what would some of those be? And some experiences from those? What could you tell the audience?
So before COVID, I was very active in the cosplay community. I would be doing panels. I've judged at a couple of cons before, and like that's what I really love to do. Like I love to spread information and like encouragement in the cosplay community, talking about like very specific issues that are happening in the cosplay community, and like kind of serving as like an educator, kind of like that's what I love to do, because that's what I do in real life. Like I'm a manager.
Same.
So I'm training people.
We don't say what our job is, but trust us when we say this, everybody out there watching this in the future as well. We care. We have to take it very professionally. We have to think of it as a whole age group versus dividing, unless that entire situation is subclass category: adult, teenager, children, infants, special needs, disabled. Like, we can go into this for miles on miles, but the older we keep getting, we do take up more. Would you say you take up the mantle of, like you said, the educator, but you're making sure things are more, hey, I'm not putting this pamphlet in your face, like, here, take one, take one. It's more
just like, you know, giving people a space to like discuss issues that are happening in the cosplay world, because unfortunately a lot of the issues that are in the real world sometimes tend to make their way, mirror themselves in the cosplay world too. So
it does.
You know, I'll do panels on, you know, starting in cosplay, or like representation in cosplay, or I'm thinking about doing one of like talking about TikTok cosplay pace versus like regular convention pace, and just kind of like bringing people down back to reality of like what the cosplay world actually is. But like also like being a judge and like being a regular competitor in the cosplay community, as someone who's like a POC cosplayer who regularly cosplays of stuff outside of my appearance. Like I like to be that representation like in the cosplay community. Like, hey, I don't look like any of my characters. Like you can cosplay outside of your race, outside of your gender, like, and make it happen, and it's gonna be awesome. And I like to just be kind of like representing that for other newer cosplayers who may be like reluctant to get into it because they only see,
they don't have, they're told you need money, you need this, you need to do that, and it's like no. And I stand by what I even said so many years ago, even probably over a decade now. Oh my gosh. I always say cosplay is for everyone, as I used to carry a shield around that said cosplay is for everyone. Everybody loved it. I didn't do it for clout. It was straight up like, no, representation. This means a lot to me, and I want people to remember cosplay is for everyone. Doesn't matter what your weight, sex, religion, like all the followings in life that are outside of cosplay that you bring into what you wish to do in a appropriate manner. Absolutely. It's do what you want to do. I've seen amazing things all over the world. Let's put it that way. When it came to
I agree.
cosplay.
So I like when I'm in the cosplay community, like I just love, you know, being able to spread like more positivity, more encouragement, like that kind of thing. Because starting in the cosplay community for me was hard. Like I started when people were not as aware of the things they were saying, and people were kind of more openly rude at cons and in internet comments and stuff. So like I started in cosplay where people were rougher, and like I don't want newer cosplayers to have to start in that kind of environment and then get discouraged because you know
this ain't high school.
Get a comment here and a comment there, and they think that, you know, that's the whole cosplay world and everyone's out to get them. Like I want them to know, like, hey, there's gonna be people who are gonna say bad things, but like there's also gonna be a lot of, this community is very supportive. If you find the right people, like it's an awesome community. So Yeah,
Absolutely.
just spreading encouragement and positivity is like my main goal
It's where
in the cosplay community.
We wouldn't really want to see things like as to that level for the most part, but it also comes down like, okay guys, I understand some of you are in high school, but this ain't high school. That drama, that popularity, out the window. Sorry, everybody's treated the same here. You do something that you shouldn't have, you're going to get treated equally.
Right.
And with anything too, as I've seen people in a lot of she said, he said moments in the cosplay community as well, we'll find out if someone's lying real quick, and it's not hard anymore.
So one of the things that I always tell like new cosplayers is just like be friendly with everyone.
Absolutely.
But also be careful who you get close to. You don't need everybody in the cosplay world to be your best friend.
Nope.
Not everybody in the cosplay world is gonna, add you on Facebook and all of that. And sometimes it's for the better. It's awesome to have con acquaintances, but sometimes like it should just stay that way. Like this is a person you hang out with at con.
Yeah.
Like the more personally involved you get with people, sometimes like the messier it can be. So like, have fun, go to your conventions, hang out with all your friends and everything. But like, especially for like the younger cosplayers, I always tell them like be cautious with who you talk to. There's a lot of good people, but as in any hobby, in any community, like all these people are from the real world. So you still have to have like common sense when you're interacting and befriending people.
And this isn't just us saying something from a book. This is from personal experience. Yours,
literally
mine.
From experience. I've observed and seen some things, and I'm like, yes, I'm gonna stay away from those.
Treat it as like what you've been taught with common sense when you come to the conventions. Don't forget it. You'll be more on a respectful note of all age, and give in return, and get it'd be treat others as you want to be treated. But if you don't see them doing that towards you, well, you can talk to them, and trust me, don't be blowing stuff up on Facebook. It don't help anybody. At most,
don't air out your dirty laundry.
Yeah, don't air out dirty laundry. It comes down to the point nobody's gonna care. Straight up, nobody's gonna care at the end of the day, because people now are realizing I gotta worry about myself, and I think that's what COVID actually did for a lot of us. It's like, whoo, okay.
COVID completely changed cosplay.
That's why I was going to ask you, like, how did COVID affect your life here? I know you're on TikTok a lot, but hey.
So, of course, we were all in quarantine. We all experienced being in our houses for a few months. I was very lucky that through my job, like, I was, paid for the whole time. I was at home basically for 3 months. But I actually had a lot of time to develop my TikTok account and like learn how to do self shoots. So I feel like in that way COVID helped cosplay a lot, because I learned how to be more self-sufficient in cosplay. So like if I want to get some photos done of a new character that I'm doing, like I don't have to wait for a friend or for one of my photographer friends to be available. Like I can just go find a backdrop on Amazon and do the self shoot in my house, set up my lights and everything. Like, so I feel in that way it was very positive. But I feel also, and like, I don't know if because you said you're not really on TikTok that much.
I have stayed off of TikTok as of when I got off all social medias to just redo my life in a much better light. My TikTok account's technically still up there, I'll say that, actually.
So, I'll just say this, like, and I've noticed this, the pace on cosplay TikTok is much faster pace than what you'll see in the real world at conventions. And what I mean by that is because of the TikTok algorithm, or because of how people do things for clout on TikTok.
Oh, absolutely. Right? On everything.
So there's like this cadence now where people believe you have to put out a new cosplay every week or for every video that's on TikTok. And so there's a lot of cosplayers who've just started in the hobby, in the community, purely on TikTok. Like they've never experienced the convention world. They've only experienced and only know cosplay on TikTok. That's scary actually, because it's only imagine. Not so much that it's scary, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just that a lot of cosplayers are now holding themselves to all these like really impossible standards Like, you can't, it is not possible to do a new cosplay every week.
The time and money that would go into all those different cosplays, like something different every convention, and you know, we going back to back to back to back to back to back to back, where it's like, whoo, I need to like, whoo.
Even in the real cosplay world, like if you're doing a new cosplay every con, that was still considered like fast paced. So now it's like incredibly fast, where it's like every week new cosplay, every week new cosplay, and there's all these new people who believe like that is the true pace of cosplay.
Used to be.
It's not. Like, you're not going to be expected in the real cosplay world to put out content that quickly. So,
very few people that can manage to do that, and it usually comes down to some of the bigger ones. They're not doing it by themselves. They've got a whole team of people.
They've got sponsors, or they're getting paid, you know, to do these certain cosplays. Or they've been cosplaying for years and have tons of stuff in their closet. Like, I can do a lot of closet cosplays now. Like, Lucius is a closet cosplay. Because I've had all that stuff, like, built up in my closet.
Yeah.
But, like, newer cosplayers, like, they're not going to have that. And so it's, like, it's important for them to understand, like, hey, don't worry about keeping up the pace for TikTok or keeping up, you know, cosplay at your own pace. Like, don't worry about getting your content out. Like, enjoy the characters that you're cosplaying. Don't worry about, like, cosplaying from, like, a dead fandom. Like, there's always going to be someone who's going to enjoy the cosplay that you're putting out.
That's true.
You don't have to do the newest, hottest trend or the newest, hottest cosplay all the time. Like, you're still going to be relevant. Just because, like, I see so many cosplayers now, like, who started on TikTok stressed out and being like, I'm so burnt out from the cosplay community already. Like, I feel like I want to quit. Like, I'm not doing that well. I can't keep up. Like, no, like, please keep cosplaying and, like, don't worry about, you know, putting your content out and all that. Like, once you get into the convention world, it's completely different. You're going to see, like, a completely new side of cosplay. So, yeah, like, the cosplay community, it's become more accelerated since COVID.
Absolutely.
It, like, stopped, but also accelerated at the same time. Just because it moved to, like, a completely different platform.
Absolutely.
And that's basically how I would say it for how COVID affected it.
I was going to say I think I completely forgot what I was going to say, but it was the whole fast pace is what was getting me to actually think of what to say. Oh, I hate that. My ADHD just kind of made it whoop out the window. I'm like, dang it, dang it, dang it, dang it. So when it came down to the fast pace of what we've even seen, even with most of us that were we had the energy to keep up. Let's put it that way. But also, from experience as well, commissions, they just get more demanding, and now you got to worry about a lot of copyright stuff, and it's like, oh gosh, oh no. But I remember, it's instead of worrying about doing so many different ones and not having anything packed down, master that first cosplay, be the character, have everything you need, then slowly build up. It can be something that you're buying, but slowly build up, make it something your own. And that in the artist community as well, you'll see a lot of people like, this is the character it's based off of, but now I'm slowly changing it into my OC, and here's my baby. Don't touch my baby.
Yeah. And there's so many different ways to approach cosplay, too. Like, it doesn't have to be perfectly screen accurate. Like, everyone's going to cosplay doing their own thing. Like, some people are going to want to take the original character design and, like, completely, like, embellish it and do, like, their own interpretation of it. Some people are going to want to do, like, an exact replica of that costume. Like, all of those forms of cosplay are completely valid. Like, as long as you love it and, like, you want to take the time to put the effort and money into that character, like, go for it. Like, people are going to love it. Like, if you feel confident and you can, like, portray that confidence, it's going to take you very far in the cosplay world.
Absolutely have fun. A lot of people say, I don't have the confidence. You'd be very surprised how quickly your confidence goes up when you're that character.
Oh, for sure. I was actually talking about this on my TikTok recently, actually. Because, you know how, like, sometimes you cosplay a character and you're like, oh, wow. Like, this is the look for me. Like, that's honestly how, like, when I cosplay as Lucius, like, I literally feel so confident. For no reason. Like, I don't look like him at all.
Suck.
But, like, when I have the whole look together, like, I feel so good. And I'm just like, wow. Like, and I'm not really one who likes to believe, hey, cosplay, like, really helps you in your confidence and everything. I believe in that, but like I didn't want to be one of those people. Like, yeah, I needed cosplay like boost my confidence, but like that's what happened. Like I literally feel more confident like after seeing the way I can look in certain costumes, and I'm like, wow, like cosplay can help in so many different ways, like in terms of how you feel with your physical appearance.
Oh, absolutely.
It can help how your public presentation skills, your interviewing skills.
Oh,
like
yes.
A lot of that, what happens in the cosplay world is very translatable and very useful.
Right.
Is
and
what I found.
The simple things too, would you say, as to it helps all those type of skills in the real world, which it does.
Oh,
a lot
really
of
does.
people don't understand that, or I
Yep.
may be misinterpreting that part. But I'm not
No,
asking
that's
everything.
correct.
I'm not expecting or knowledgeable enough to say I know everybody's actual thought process of all of that fun stuff. But it comes down to working on communication skills. Big
Yep.
thing. Proper sitting up, standing
Yep.
up, huge thing. It boosts confidence. You don't need to be super in shape or jacked to be like, oh, just boost my confidence. A little bit of exercising, at most stretch. Stretching is a huge thing.
Or it's how you carry yourself too.
Absolutely.
Like I learned through cosplay, even things like this, doing interviews, presenting in panels.
Oh, yeah.
Like that helps so much. Even it translated so well in the professional world, for me at least, because I borrow stuff from the professional world, I borrow stuff from the cosplay world, like what I learned, and I combine them, and like that's how you can build up your real life career if you're strategic about it.
Absolutely.
But it's nice because at the conventions it's a more casual environment. So if you want to do panels to work on your presentation skills, like the audience is going to be a little bit more forgiving than like if you're presenting to like a board of directors, but you can get that practice talking in front of people, like having stage presence, having your camera presence all sorted out. You can do that through being in the convention world.
Yes.
And like a lot of people are like, cosplay is just nerds dressing in costume, which which is awesome.
It is.
But there's also so many things that you can get out of it, like as an individual, like as to grow professionally.
Absolutely. It's how serious you take it too.
Right.
No matter if you say you want it to be more of a hobby, we'll slightly give a little bit more time into it, communicate with people, and don't be too afraid of asking people about how to do this, how to do that. But as I would say, if it's to how to make something, always look up 5 different sources before you ask anybody else, before you go to ask someone, how do you make this, how do you do this? Because we'll be like, you got money to have me, it's harsh to say that sometimes, but I'll be like, if you got the money, I'll teach you. If you don't.
Yeah. I mean, I think it depends on what they're asking too. Like if people ask me like a simple question, like I'm always down to give out information. So if I can explain it to you and you're willing to listen, I will definitely help you explain if I can explain it clearly. Now sometimes like things that I do with my cosplays I can't explain clearly because I'm just like sometimes I'm just not good with words. And
I have to show.
It's probably easier if I directed you like this tutorial or like this here. Like I'm never gonna deny somebody information if they're asking me. Now if they ask me, can you make this for me? Then I'm gonna be like, okay, number 1, I don't do commissions. But number 2, like I don't do things for free. So
exactly. When it comes to that.
Yeah, I think asking for advice is different than like asking someone, a cosplayer, to make a thing for you and expect it for free.
And it makes us not feel as like happy to want to do stuff. And we're like, if we make it on a whim, cool.
Right.
It's how much time we have for cosplay is a big thing.
Yep.
For a lot of things. We got more life issues to worry about.
Yeah.
So yes, let's go ahead now and get to the pictures. All that fun stuff, all this.
Sorry if this is taking longer than you thought it would. I have a lot to say.
Oh, it's all good. No, I expect it, honestly, and I'm super excited for all that. So, for the first pictures, as to what we have here is your Sweeney Todd.
Yes. That was my first cosplay. So
Bloody
that
mess.
was when I actually didn't know how to make my own stuff. So everything on that costume was commissioned. I actually paid someone to custom make all of that stuff for me because at that point in time, I did not know how to sew.
Oh, it's so hard.
But I knew enough to like commission someone, and like my life was so expensive back then. Like literally, that vest was $300. Like my razors, I got 2 sets of razors for like $100 each. Like
Ooh.
I was going in
Ooh.
for this cosplay.
Ooh. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like woo.
Yeah. So at that point, I didn't know how to make stuff, so that vest was made for me. None of that I made myself. I just did the makeup, and then I had my friend help me with photos. So yeah, that was my first cosplay. That's not the first iteration of that cosplay. The first iteration of that cosplay is somewhere deep on the internet, and it's really bad. So I
oh
didn't put it up there.
That's another bloody mess for another time.
Yeah.
So the famous Jack Sparrow cosplay.
Captain
Sorry, Captain Jack Sparrow.
I can still do the voice. I can still talk as Captain Jack Sparrow, apparently.
Oh, oh no, the rum.
That one I did make. So that one, I made the wig for it. I made the vest, the shirt, I modified the pants, and then I made the coat. The belts and all of like the props pieces were made specifically for me. There's a Jack Sparrow community where they share resources and stuff. And they have people who've done years and years and years of research on the screen used costumes.
Ooh.
So they make custom made pieces. So those parts are not made by me, but the clothing parts and the wig was done by me. And that was like 2 years after I started doing Sweeney Todd. So I was starting to learn how to make my own stuff.
I remember all the stories of the new thing. Every time I saw you at a convention, it was like, oh yeah, no, I've got this. I've got the pocket watch. Now I've got this, and I've got rum.
Yep.
How you doing?
So we're always adding stuff. Like your cosplays are always going to be a work in progress. Like you're never going to get it unless you're like a professional cosplayer. Most likely your first iterations of the characters are not going to be 100% the way you want them.
No.
So like that's another thing I like to tell people too is like everyone starts somewhere, number one. I know that's cliche, everyone says it, but it truly is. Everyone starts somewhere. And everyone's character starts somewhere. So your first iteration is not going to be your final.
No,
if you really have a lot of passion for that character, you're most likely going to update that character 2 or 3 times.
More than that. So with that, we're going to go on to the great circus movie of Robert Downey Jr.
Showman.
The Great Showman. Thank you. I
Yes.
should have said circus
So
act.
that one is P.T. Barnum from The Greatest Showman. I made the jacket, the vest, and the pants on that one.
I have not seen this one.
And I did that just after the movie came out.
Ooh.
And I took it to Anime Milwaukee and did a walk-on skit. So that's from that performance. That was so much fun. Like I performed to The Greatest Show, so I did like his whole like dance, like everything. It was so much fun.
And it's rare, even the actor Robert Downey Jr.
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. I was like, wait, did I just really say Hugh Jackman? A lot of people like, we don't expect you to be able to sing, and then learning that he was able to sing, I was like, oh, right. Let's go!
On Broadway, I believe, before he did Greatest Showman, he used to do stage shows. That was like where he got his start in acting.
Fancy.
And then he moved on to movies. So he actually could sing, and he just never used it, I guess, in movies, so people didn't know about that.
True. And then we got your blue gold.
Yes.
Tactical.
Marquita Lafayette from Hamilton. So that one, the vest and the jacket I made. That was one I made during quarantine. I made a lot of Hamilton costumes during quarantine.
That is true. That is very true.
Yeah.
It was insane. I was like, oh my gosh.
That I made, all made during quarantine.
I remember one little thing you did post. I think it was on Facebook before I went dead silent throughout everything online. You were showing in, I think it was a TikTok video of you could take a curtain and it's voila, here's my dress type.
Oh, yeah.
I was just like, that's creative. We needed new curtains, right? Yeah. It was just the amount of cosplays, very high level in cosplays too. It just blew my mind. Now we're on to the next one where you're just like, So, another
Yeah,
Hamilton.
so that's Jefferson. So that character in the show he starts out in Act 1 as Lafayette because it's a dual role. So he starts out as Lafayette, and then the second act he's the same actor that played Lafayette in the first half is Jefferson. So that's why I did both of them. So for that one, the coat, vest, and pants I made myself. That one has like detailed buttonholes that are like really. They take like 5 different steps to do, and there's like 28 buttonholes on this coat.
Oh my
It's ridiculous. But I was able to find pictures from the production where it shows like specifically how they're made and everything. So I wanted to include that detail on my costume. And fun fact, I took that to Broadway Con and competed with it. During pre-judging, I showed the judges like progress photos, right? And one of them was like, "So is this the tailoring shop photo or is this your?" Like they couldn't tell the difference. I was like, "Oh, that's mine. Like that's my photo."
I did that. Yes, I did that.
It was just funny because like I didn't expect that because like I can see the errors in my costume, but like I guess they didn't see them. So that's another thing too. Like you're gonna see so many errors in your own cosplays, and like you're gonna be like, "Oh my god, everyone's gonna notice this." Like everyone's gonna,
I won't tell you what I see. Let's put it that way.
No one's gonna see it. No one's gonna notice. As long as you generally look like the character and you're giving off the vibes of that character, like it's
working
all good.
It in. It's
essentially for the most part.
It's essentially working the cosplay in.
Right. Yep.
And then we get to another Hamilton where you have the dress on.
Yes. So that's Mariah Reynolds. That's the one I made out of curtains from the thrift store.
Yes. I was like, this is the one. This is the one. Curtains are really good quality fabric.
They really are. I've actually found 100% silk curtains that I plan to use for like other costumes, and like you buy them at the thrift store for $5 a panel. Always
always go to the thrift store.
But if you go to like a full line fabric store, that's gonna be like $18 to $30 a yard.
I can't do.
So like it's definitely worth it. Go to your thrift stores, go to the houseware section, and find the curtains. Also, I just bought like a bunch of like cotton sheets that I'm gonna use for like mock-ups instead of buying like actual like cotton fabric by the bolt.
Yeah.
So much cheaper. Bought like a whole bunch of sheets for $10 because it's just going to be for a mock-up. I'm just testing out patterns. It doesn't need to look pretty.
No.
It doesn't need to match. I just need fabric to practice on.
It's surprising to see sheets are also a good material for dresses.
Mm-hmm.
Like, surprising.
Or they're great for lining, too.
Oh, absolutely. So, on top of that, next up is your yellow gold.
Yes. So that's the Hamilton Ensemble costume. So not many people cosplay as the Hamilton Ensemble.
No, they don't.
But I love the designs from it because each person has like their own design for it. And I just thought it was a really cool costume to do. I really liked the original actor who like was in the original Broadway show. I liked her look, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna base mine off of that. But that was an impulsive cosplay. I was just sitting around my house one day and I was like, I want that costume, and then I just made it.
Was it just out of pure boredom?
Yeah.
See, and that's another thing where I tell people, if you want something, make it yourself. Figure out how it is, and then you can say, I got my own. Da-na.
That's the nice thing about cosplay. So people who are viewing this maybe on TikTok and everything, they probably heard the sound like, I want it, I made it, or like, I want it, I got it. Like there's a sound on TikTok for that. No, like, that's exactly what it's like being a cosplayer, because you can look at something and be like, I want that. And then you can make that yours.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's just so much fun. It's so cool to see, like, oh, wow, like, I have that now. Like, and I made it for myself. Or, like, I was able to find it for myself. Right. It's just so satisfying.
There's always one cosplay I would love to try and make, but it's not going to be cheap. It's a lot of electricity going through the costume. I'd like a Tron cosplay.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, you already know. It's like, oh, that's a lot of lights. That's a lot of lights.
Yeah. I have a friend who did a really awesome Tron cosplay a while back, though.
Ooh.
I'll send you his information.
I would definitely love.
I don't know if he has pictures of it online, but like he made it like even before like cosplay was like a big thing. He did it for like a Halloween costume contest.
Ooh.
And it was incredible. He actually like ended up winning the contest. So.
And then with this, we got a Jekyll and Hyde. If that's.
Yes.
Yes, I was
so that's from the musical. Not many people know that musical because it's like, again. So I have a tendency to cosplay from like really old fandoms, or like I'm always late to fandoms.
I know the feeling. I'm doing the same stuff, or just random like box robots or this or that. I'm a trash can. I'll just do the most random.
Like, I was like 5 years late or 10 years late to Pirates of the Caribbean. I was 3 years late to Hamilton. Greatest Showman was the only fandom that I've actually kept up with. Like, I did that right when it started.
Yeah.
But like, and I just recently started cosplay from Harry Potter, and I didn't ever intend to actually ever cosplay from that series.
Yeah. I didn't think you would, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't think I would either. But my friend invited me to a Harry Potter event up in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I need to find an outfit or a cosplay for that. So let me go look for some Harry Potter characters that have like similar aesthetics to what I usually dress in.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up doing Lucius. So purely based on the aesthetic. I was like,
and with the Lucius, we've got the two pictures here.
As me, so
now we've got your Lucius.
Yeah.
Mr. Snake Man. So, as you already explained how you got into wanting to do this one, what was the process of actually getting it all together?
Basically, so that coat that I'm wearing is my Hamilton coat.
Okay.
I just put fur on it and bought some snake pins off of Etsy for $18. Put that on it, and then I bought the cane, which I actually have here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Got this from Amazon. Thank you, Amazon.
Fair enough.
But also it has a wand in it, too, so it comes out, which is super fun for pictures and posing.
That's fancy.
Yeah, it's really nice. I love it. And that's basically, and then I bought the wig off of Amazon, and then that's done. Now, he's one of the characters I'm redoing, because I want to make my own stuff for him. There's a lot of inaccuracies on my current cosplay that I want to fix and sort out. So I am remaking that. And I'm also remaking his Death Eater outfit too, because the Death Eater picture that I have, yeah, that's not accurate.
It's something. He gets
the point across, yes, but the detail wise, it's not where I want it to be.
Gotcha.
It's good for TikTok. It's a good TikTok cosplay. Not great for conventions yet.
I'll make cardboard horns and put it on TikTok and put it with duct tape on my head, and I'll be fine.
I mean, it literally, like,
works.
TikTok, that's why it's different. Like, TikTok cosplay is different. You can be a little bit more casual with it.
Oh,
and, like, because you can do more stuff with, like, your facial expressions, your makeup, like, because you're only filming usually from here up.
Yeah.
So, like, your costume's not as much of a focus.
Oh, absolutely.
So, like, the things that I can get away with on TikTok, I personally believe I cannot get away with them at a convention.
Oh, absolutely not. Like, straight up, nope.
So, in terms of, like, accuracy, like, I'm recognizable as Lucius on TikTok with that closet cosplay. If I brought that to a convention, nobody would have any idea what I was cosplaying. So, that's why I'm going to redo it and make it the way I want it to be.
It's a hit or miss. Let's just
I mean, it was fun to do the costume. It was fun to do videos. I still do videos like that. Because I have a lot of fun doing that character. You should find some lines on TikTok if they got them. Like, okay, son, here's your lunch. Get out, go. Like, stuff like that. I'm always looking for different audio.
Or just be like, or Lucius's, like, day off where he's just, like, boxers, like, watching Quidditch. Beer. What is it, Malfoy? Oh, okay, I don't care. No, bad daddy. Daddy of the year. Oh, gosh, no. But, all right, now going on to social media stuff that you have, what can people find you under?
So, I am just at Sparrow Style, all one word on TikTok. And, Sparrow Style _entertainment on Instagram.
We're definitely going to get links for those.
Those are my only two social medias that I'm regularly active on. Because I'm a full-time, like, manager. I don't have time to be doing all different social medias.
We don't got time for all the other drama stuff in life. We got, it isn't like you have to be on the go all the time, but it's one of those, like, we ourselves individually now are like, no.
Right.
I got priorities.
Yep.
Like, straight
and
up.
I do, I do my content in batches too, and like I tell newer TikTok creators also to do this too. Like, film your stuff in batches. Like, get all of your drafts like all up and lined up so that you don't have to be in cosplay every single day. Because like realistically, nobody has time for that. No. Like, so there's no shame in having a lot of drafts on TikTok and posting them, you know, as you see fit.
It's smarter, actually.
Yeah.
Even
work smarter, not harder.
Right? Essentially, as to like, you could do 100 videos in one day, but draft them all. Upload one a day.
Yep.
And some people will say, no, I gotta upload constantly. I'm like, you're gonna run out of material real quick.
Yep. You can upload constantly. If you have backlog, you always have content. It's just a matter of like creating the description, putting your hashtags, and posting it up.
Right, and it can be the most random stuff too in those cosplays, honestly. It doesn't need to make, you know, you're going to go for the actual fandom stuff, but be careful of that as well. Because TikTok likes to take down a lot of voice things, even though they legally allowed it in the first place, which makes no sense. But as to the other social medias, is there any other type of things that you'd like to promote that you are a part of?
Nope, just TikTok and Instagram. I'm hoping to get back into the convention scene more regularly, doing like competitions and judging and all of that, getting back into the swing of things as cons pick up again.
Absolutely.
So you'll probably see me at, you know, I go to all the Midwest cons. I'm going to Broadway Con in July. Might be going to, there's like a Harry Potter convention in Orlando, I believe, sometime also in July that I might try to go to.
There's certain ones we don't go to that we don't speak of.
Oh yeah, well I don't go to any of those.
And if people are wondering, just animecon.org affiliated type conventions. We don't.
The next one I'm going to in the Midwest is going to be Anime Central. That's the next one, and then Fan Expo.
Nice, very
that
dope.
Fan Expo replaced Wizard World, in case anybody did not know. So those are the two that are like in the Rosemont Convention Center that I will be going to.
All right, and then anything else that you'd love to give advice to and other shout outs, I guess?
I don't think I have anything at the moment. I think I said everything I wanted to say.
Okay, I always just make sure I'm like, was there a special shout out you wanted to say, like this photographer or, you know, this or that, any future conventions, which you already explained and said. But yeah, other than that, guys, please take a look at the links in the description below to help support Sparrow's cause of cosplay and all the other fun shenanigans you'll see Sparrow upload on TikTok. And trust me, there is a lot of shenanigans on there. Let's put it that way. But they're very fun to watch. All of Sparrow's videos. I can tell you could sit there like a movie marathon and be like, how did this pass so much time? Well, you see. But other than
TikTok, it'd be like that though with TikTok.
It's such a distraction. But other than that, everybody, thank you so much for coming on to the stream. Watching the actual interviews helps me grow, if people want me to say that, I guess. Yes, and it helps a lot of people out there in the cosplay, being new and old to the game. Doesn't matter. This is to actually help people. As Sparrow, I'm surprised, like, honestly, you're pretty famous. I know that.
I don't feel that way.
That we all say that. I'm like, oh, I don't know you.
No, I really don't.
Give more credit to yourself, hon. But other than that, thank you all for coming on, and we hope you all have a good night. Yes?
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you taking the time. Like, I really do. Thank you for reaching out.
Honestly, no, I appreciate more of your patience, because I know how busy you are. So I appreciate that.
No
very
worries.
much.
This was a lot of fun.
No, it was boring. I'm sorry. No, I'm joking. All right, we'll see y'all later. Peace out, Girl Scouts. Until next time. Keep it real.
Bye.